worked on recently solving two-step equations, and what we're hoping to do here is see that it's just a little bit of extra work. Okay, first of all, we're going to look at equations with the distributive property. Okay, you'll notice when you look at this problem that the difference between a two-step equation and this problem is, let me get going here, the fact that we have a distributive property part to do first. So when you look at it, what I want you to think is, what do I need to do to get this to be a two-step equation? You notice the parentheses, you notice the number outside, and start thinking do distributive property. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply that number on the outside by both of the pieces inside. So 4 times 2, which is 8, and 4 times negative 3, remember, count that as like a negative, which is negative 12. So remember that minus sign counts as a negative 3. You don't have a minus 3, you have a negative 3. Remember, circling the outside is important because if it's a minus sign in a more complicated problem, you might forget it if you don't. Now we're going to bring down the equals in the 4. And look, lo and behold, we have a two-step equation. Hopefully by now two-step equations are simple. Add 12 to both sides. And that leaves you with a divide by 8 problem, which gives you x equals 2. Again, the way we check to be sure is we just take that x and we replace it with a 2. As you'll see, if we do that, we get 2 times 2 is 4, 4 minus 3 is 1, 1 times 4 is 4. As long as that turns out accurate, then our answer is correct. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work on this one together. Go ahead and take that number on the outside. We're going to multiply it by both in the inside because we notice it's a distributive property problem. Bring down the equals 40 and solve the two-step equation. And you get 12x equals 12, so therefore x would equal 1. And I know you might be thinking, oh, do I have to show every single one of these steps? No, I mean, honestly, in Algebra 1, there's a step on your own. You could probably skip here or there. You could probably skip the divide by 12 step, just at least on your paper. You can't skip actually doing it, but you could skip it on your paper. Checking it, I'm going to look to be sure that when I plug in that 1 for x, it gives me 6 plus 4, which is 20. 6 plus 14, which is 20. 2 times 20 is 40. As long as that works, you know your answer is correct. So go ahead and try this one on your own. Pause the video. Take a second. When you think you have the whole answer figured out, hit play. All right. So we're going to take the number on the outside. We're going to multiply it by each of the things on the inside. Okay, gives us a two-step equation, which, as I've said numerous times, I hope the two-step equation is easy for you. If you do it correctly, you'll end up with x equals 3. Okay, go ahead and pause it again. Give this one a try as well. All right, number on the outside multiplied by both on the inside. Okay, when you get a two-step equation, all you do is you solve the two-step equation as we already know how to do. Should end up with x equals 5. You can check it real quickly. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. 2 times 13 is 26. Okay, next what we're going to do is combining like terms equations. So when I look at this problem, the first thing hopefully you notice if I say, hey, how is this different than a two-step equation is we have two sets of x's and two sets of numbers. We're only supposed to have one x and one number on the left side of the equal sign. So we're going to apply what we know about combining like terms, however you choose to do it. Remember in class I showed you guys that we put the symbols. So I'm going to take the x's and put them together. 4 minus 2 is 4 minus x minus 2x is 2x. And 3 plus 7 is 10. Look what we have, a two-step equation. Solving the two-step equation, very quickly and easily we end up with x equals 7. Once again, to check this answer, all we have to do is go, okay, 4 times 7 is 28. 28 plus 3 is 31. 2 times 7 is 14. 31 minus 14 is 17. 17 plus 7 is 24. As long as that works, you know your answer is correct. And again, this is just to show you, I know as the problems get more complicated, the check gets more complicated as well, but with all that work involved, it's actually worth it, even if you can do a mental check or just maybe write down, perhaps start at this step right here where you do the first part in your head and you get to there. Okay, let's try one more together. We're going to combine our x's. That's going to give me 4x, 7 minus 3. Going to combine my numbers. 25 minus 24 is a 1. Two-step equation. Subtract 1 from both sides, and then divide by 4. You end up with x equals 8. All we have to do from there is plug in that 8. Again, I know that looks complicated, but if you just skip to the second step, which is 7 times 8 is 56, minus 24 plus 25, you do in fact get 33, and we know for a fact that our answer is correct. All right, so pause the video, give this one a try. Please do the check, if not on the paper, then at least in your head, so you can double check that you think the answer you got is correct. All right, so we're going to go ahead and combine those two, which is going to give us negative 2x, and combine the numbers, which is going to give us negative 11. Again, if the integer math is a problem for you, take your time. Think of I owe $14, I have $3, so I'm going to give it to them and still owe 11, things like that. Solving with the two-step equation, dividing by negative 2, I end up with x equals positive 7. Try another one on your own. Okay, 2x minus 5x is negative 3x. 6 plus 7 is 13. Subtracting 13 from both sides, I get negative 3x equals 9. Dividing by negative 3, I get x equals negative 3. Be very careful. A 3 here instead of a negative 3 is wrong. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put it all together. Okay, we're going to take it one step further. What that means is, if you notice here, I have both a distributive property part and I also have a combined like terms part. This is about the most complicated it can get. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and start with the distributive property. Remember, we did this in class for practice. You always start with distributive. Circle the negative sign included with the 2. Bring down everything else. Now I multiply. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 2 times negative 7 is positive 14. Now look what we have, combining like terms. I'm going to combine my x's, which is going to give me negative 2, and I'm going to combine my numbers, which is going to give me positive 9. Subtract 9 from both sides, because look what we have, a two-step equation. And divide by negative 2 gives me positive 4. Let's try this one together. Again, identify first your distributive property part. Circle the symbol outside, including the plus sign, even though it's a plus. Multiply, bring everything else down. Multiply the 3 times 4 and the 3 times 8. Now we combine like terms. I've got 2 sets of x's, which make 6. 2 sets of numbers, which make 31. Two-step equation. Subtract 31 from both sides. Divide by 6. And you're set. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try this one on your own. Pause the video. All right, here we go. Start off by hopefully identifying your distributive property part, being very careful to circle the negative sign included. So check this step right here. Make sure you got it right. Most of you would make a mistake right there or right there. Okay, so negative times positive is negative. Negative times negative is positive. Be very careful. Now we're going to combine like terms. 12 minus 8 is 4. And negative 20 plus 12 is negative 8. Add 8 to both sides. Divide by 4. And you get x equals 7. Okay, so what I want you guys to do now is fill out the form down below. Make sure you hit submit so I can give you credit for having watched the video. And then tomorrow in class, we're going to go ahead and do some serious practice of this to make sure you really get it. And you guys can begin getting really good at solving equations that are more than 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps. We can do as many steps as we want, as long as we remember that we want to turn that problem into a 2-step equation. So I will see you guys soon.